this in acrylic, but before I even start, I'm going to do something that I rarely ever do. Pretty much never, actually. And I'm going to do some colour thumbnails because I'm not actually too sure what direction I want to take this colour-wise yet. I sort of have a vague idea, but I don't want to go in with paint until I've sort of planned out my colour scheme a little bit more, which is really not something I normally do. So I'm going to use my Hemi gouache because it's a little bit easier to just use to whip up some colour studies and play with colour as opposed to getting my acrylic paints out and stuff. So I'm kind of thinking that I want to do kind of a sunsetty colour palette for this, but obviously strawberries are red. So, or like, I guess I could go more towards a cool red, more of a pinky red, but then it might not read exactly as strawberries, but I think I kind of want some red, purple, orange vibes. And I'm quite inspired by this little berry that I did in a video a couple months ago. I really like the glowing, like the really neon effect, the black background. So I kind of want to go for something like that. I do want this to have this bright, almost glowing thing happening. So I think I'm going to be doing a black background on this, or a really dark background. So I've got that. That's my starting point in my head with where I want to take this. So I'm just spraying down my gouache. And it's a little bit difficult because because I was going to do them on this reverse page, the little colour thumbnails, but you know what? I'm actually just going to use a different sketchbook entirely. And I was drawing some other things that have something to do with this yesterday, so, you know, it's fine. So, I think I know I want to do like a black background, so I'm gonna actually just whip up these little colour thumbnails. Who knows, I might even get it right in the first one. It might only be one. And then I will come back and chat with you guys. any further, I'm not going to actually like do a proper thumbnail. I think what I really just need to do is this. I just needed to do some swatches and sort of figure out where I'm going. Because I'm way too impatient, I thought maybe I would need to plan this out further at this stage, but I think I've got a bit more of a handle on it now that I've done this. So what I have done is I've figured out that I'm going to do a gradient, like a sunset gradient in the background. This is going to be my color palette. And then I'm going to sort of outline and paint around the whole thing in black. So this is going to be almost like my underpainting. And this is going to be my color palette for the actual design. This lavender, like light purple color is going to be the color that I mix in to every single color to keep cohesion in the painting. So the color palette's going to be unified if I use one color mixed in with every other color on the palette. Now, I wanted to stick with the sunset theme, so I'm using mainly like warm tones, but I really want to inject in some of this pale green to create some like, for the little strawberries, like these little ones, I want them to be green and look like unripened. So that's what I'm going to use that pale green for. And I think I also want to use green for like the tops of the leaves. I kind of debated painting this so it all looked like metal. So obviously these are chains, so I'm going to try to make these look like metal. So these are sort of the grey tones that I'm going to use, but they still have like that purple mixed in. And I even experimented with mixing in a bit of the green. So even the grey is going to sort of be hopefully unified to the same palette. It's not just going to be a random grey. It's going to be a grey made from colours in the palette. So I think I'm going to make the chains and like this part metal, but the strawberries themselves and like the green here, like the what would be the green on the strawberry, I tossed up between making that look metal too. But I think I'm going to start with green. I'm doing acrylic, so it means that I can always come back in later and change it. But I think this is sort of the starting point of the vibe. I've stopped making my prints at home, so I had all this leftover print paper that I don't know what to use for, but it's this really like smooth texture, and I was like, maybe I could use these for palettes. And I've done it once here, because especially for paintings that I sell, I thought it would be kind of cool to include like a little palette, like the actual palette that I use for painting some of the painting. Now, obviously this is my sketchbook, so like I'm probably not gonna rip it out and sell it or anything, but I still thought it'd be fun to paint on these. So I'm gonna do, my palette is gonna be these little paper things. Oh, and it's, I don't know, in case this matters. Whoop. Ilford Gallery Smooth Pearl. It's just really smooth photo paper. know I'm going to need pretty tiny brushes for most of this piece. So now I'm going to need pretty tiny brushes for most of this because it is small and there's a lot of tiny detail. So I'm actually going to open a new set of little detail brushes. If you've watched one of my previous videos, I mentioned how these are my favourite little detail brushes, mainly just because I think they're quite good value for money. So this whole pack was $8. You get 5 brushes. I don't use this one, so this is going straight into my random brush cemetery. But the rest of these, I'll definitely be using in this painting. So, you see how small they are? I don't know if you can even tell right now, but they're really, really tiny. So, yeah, I think these are going to be really good. I think I would like one bigger brush. And this is another Mod Mart detail brush. And it's from like a bigger pack of these. They do like a brush roll and you get like 20 something small brushes of like various sizes, and this was one of them. So yeah, I think this will help fill in these areas. And actually, now that I've mentioned it, I need a bigger brush to do the background. Duh. What am I gonna do? For the background gradient, I'm just going to use this watercolor brush. I think it'll do the job nicely. I could use something bigger, but I think I still want a little bit more control. So, I'm just going to keep this here to stop my hand from smudging all of this while I paint. So, let's get to it. I'm feeling kind of, not nervous, I'm excited. I really like how this drawing came out. So I don't want to ruin it, but there's no ruining it. This is art. There's no ruining it. And especially with acrylic paint, we can always fix literally everything. We can do endless layers until we get it right. So I've just sort of pre-wet the page, and I'm gonna get my brush really loaded with water. So remember, for the gradient, we're gonna do like a sunsetty look. So we're gonna go from like this warm yellow orangey color up to purple. And I'm going to be doing this in like almost a watercolory way, because obviously I don't want to cover my sketch. And look, I could tape off the edge of my page to make it more neat, But I did the drawing too close to the top anyway, so I don't really see the point. So the reason for this wash background that I'm doing is to remove the white, obviously, but removing the white seems to help my brain use color. So white, you've got nothing to judge other colors based off of, if that makes sense. White is like just this blank. Whereas if you have another color or colors laid down, you are starting to create like a relationship. So you can then add other colors that will be cooler or warmer, and you can judge colors next to each other. Whereas if you've just got white, it's quite hard to judge the value and the color of what you're doing. So I find, it's really fun to start your painting off in like kind of a more loose way like this. I feel like it sort of helps to get you, a little bit in the zone of painting. And you remove that scary white page. But I do think it genuinely helps with your color choices moving forward. So this also doesn't have to be perfect because it's just the tone of the paper. Not much of this is really going to show through. I don't even know if any will, but it's also helping me set the vibe for the painting. It's getting me excited about using bright colors. And I think it's going to help me to push my colors further because I've already got color there. Does that make sense? I don't know. All right, so we did warm yellow. I just mixed a bit of red in and I let those two bleed together. Now, my brush is really wet and I'm using a lot of water. More red. If I was letting this just be a gradient background and I wasn't going to paint black over the top, I would probably be a lot neater right now. So you see how we've got some like banding and stuff in the gradient, like it's not very smooth. I would probably fix that and make it smoother, but because I'm pretty much going to be painting around the design in black, it doesn't really matter. So I think this is dried enough that I can start painting over it. When you're working with brushes this small, it's pretty imperative that you rinse them off really regularly, because you'll find that because it's such a tiny amount of acrylic paint on them that it sort of dries on the brush as you're painting. So it'll get sort of thick and hard to maneuver. So rinsing off your brush more regularly tends to help with that and keep your paint sort of flowing more easily off your brush. So I'm looking at pictures of strawberries while I do this. And some of them, like I guess when they're not as ripe, they kind of fade from like a, almost they are that like green to sort of yellow, orange to red. So I might do a little bit of this orange because I want them to be quite like dynamic looking. So instead of just a flat red, I can work like a gradient into them that sort of mimics the background. So just kind of like, it's actually so fun painting with such a tiny brush. I don't know, I love painting small sometimes. While I'm doing this, maybe I can sort of start to mimic, at least at the bottom here, like the divots of where like the seeds go in, because the strawberry, obviously it like sinks in around the seed. So if I leave a bit of the red around the seeds, or make it darker at least, it sort of starts to mimic that. I might even bring this up a bit. And I might even add some of that, like, it is almost green tinged when the strawberry is not quite ripe. They're not as delicious when they're like that. They're the best when they're like really dark red. That's the same with cherries, I think. Like the darker the cherry, the more delicious. So you always want to go for like the cherries that are like almost black. And like strawberries, you want to go for the ones that are like dark red all over, I think. They're the tastiest, the sweetest. So I'm mixing like my green and that lilac together, which is gonna tone down the saturation of the green. Adding a little bit of white in there to make like a, yeah, like a dirty pale green. Just to add to like the very bottom. I don't want to go overboard with this at this stage. So I think I'll just leave it like that for now. A bit more here, just to at this edge at the bottom. But yeah, I think I'll leave that like that for now, because I want to add in the green for the top of the strawberry. So I'm trying to, when I'm darkening a color or desaturating it, I'm adding in that like lilac, light purple color. And even like a bit of deep purple. I use a lot of purple in my artwork, and I use a lot of purple for like shadow tones and for darkening colors, because I don't know, I'm just drawn to it. I just think it like, I don't know, it just seems to give a nice feeling to pieces, and I think it gives more of a dynamic look than using black, but it's just a color I'm just very drawn to. Alright. So I've mixed some black, some green, and some of that light purple. Adding a little bit of water to it because it's such a small brush that I really need a bit more moisture in the paint for it to flow better. Otherwise it gets too dry brushy. So we've kind of got two components of the strawberry. We've got like, I've sort of made two parts of like the stem type thing. See what I mean? It's like we've got this bottom section and then we've got this top bit here. So I'm just going to focus on this one, the bottom part. Ooh, that's a nice green. So I'm just putting in a base color for the leaves, which I'll then sort of work highlights and more shadows from, but I just want to see what base tone that I wanted for this color scheme. Because this is like, it's a weapon, this is a mace, right? So it's supposed to be pointy. I wanted the leaves to also have like, and even that strawberry leaves do sort of have that too, like they've got this pointy appearance, so I thought it worked really well, but I want to make sure I sort of keep that pointy vibe, you know? It's not a vibe at all. Shape, that's the word. I downloaded a dictionary app on my phone because although I think, like, not to brag or anything, but, you know, the least uninteresting brag ever, but I do think I have quite a good vocabulary, but I don't use it. So like when I'm reading and stuff, I know what words mean, but I don't put my vocabulary into practice. I really want to, because like sometimes I feel like my brain is turning to mush because I'm not using it, and I just say like 500 times a day. And I want to be able to communicate better and to describe things better, especially now that I'm making videos and I'm talking while I paint, or, you know, just talking in videos on camera. I really want to have more of like a wider vocabulary to draw from. All right. Okay, so we're going to do that dark. Then I feel like it'd be kind of cute to make this top part lighter and maybe more, should be darker. I don't know. We can change it up and see how we feel. I'm going to use more of my yellowy chartreuse colour. Mix that in. Spray my palette again. And I'm sort of mixing in that green I was using with this lighter green because I don't want it to be too light. I want these colours to have a relationship together. So yeah, I think this will be cute. This will be cute. So I'm starting to feel like I want to do a just like a general base layer on this piece instead of working one area complete and then moving to the next. I want to do an overall layer of colour, which is what I do usually when I paint. And I definitely think I want to do it on this piece. It's going to help me see values better and where I can go with my colour palette. All right. Actually, I see a little bit. Let's fix this up. Yeah, it's annoying me for some reason. Okay. Yeah, okay. Let's add that base layer into the chain. So I'm gonna mix up a similar colour to what I did in my little colour swatchies. So it was like a light, it was the purple lilac, a little bit of normal purple, just a little bit of purple. I'm really not used to speaking while I paint, so. It's actually really interesting because it's like you're putting to words what's normally a, not automatic, but more subconscious process. But I guess you are thinking to yourself when you're doing this. So I hope you enjoy just my trailing thoughts out loud. Hopefully it's like somewhat helpful, not total nonsense. So basically making grey, black, white with purple mixed in and like a tiny bit of green, because even though it's not opposite purple on the colour wheel, it maybe a bit of this yellowy colour. I'm just kind of making like, I guess, a neutrally purpley-ish grey. And I might make it a bit darker because I think what I'm going to do for these chains, I'll show you when I'll show you. Don't try and tell you, I'll show you. So adding a bit more black. A bit more even. Because I think it'd be cool if the metal looked quite dark, I guess. Maybe. Okay. This color? Yeah, okay, that's good. So with this color, I'm gonna add the, like almost like, I think this sort of shadow parts of the metal. Or maybe actually, let's do a couple of chains and then we'll figure out what I'm actually doing. We'll come up with a system. Actually, it looks quite similar to that green, doesn't it? When it's there, but that's okay. That's okay. when I was drawing these chains, I was initially going to do them more rounded. You know, like usual, like a big chunky chain, it's like usually a bit more like an ovally shape, the links, but when I was drawing it, it was easier for me to draw it in more straight angular shapes, but then I ended up just liking that. I think I like the contrast of that, of the straight lines with like the organic strawberry shape. This might be a little bit too green of a grey, which is interesting because my palette doesn't look like that. But because we've got that toned background, it's pulling more green. Okay. So I don't know if I can explain what I'm doing now, but if you see what I'm doing, I'm approaching the links in two different ways. So these sideways ones that just look like you're looking at the side profile of the chain, I'm kind of doing like an outline on them. I think this will be a good way to do them. And then kind of fanning that up, because I want to give it a metal look. And I know what I'll do. Okay. Now I'm mixing together a lighter version of that grey with more of that light purple and white, and I'm taking the darker grey and mixing that in too. And then I'm gonna fill this part in. And then this, so I can do a couple of chains at a time with this method because the paint's still a bit wet, so I can blend a bit. And then I'm also going to paint the sides of the more like flat pieces of the chain with this colour. So it's adding some dimension, some highlight. And then I'd actually take that up into the corners too, just to sort of round it off. And then, I don't know if I'll use black. I might mix, for the real shadow, I'm going to mix purple and black. And then maybe a bit of white, because I think it's a bit too dark. Yep, okay. And then I'm gonna add in the actual, like, kind of like the cast shadow, I suppose, where the metal is touching metal. So we can start to see the differentiation between the links. And then, like, with barely any paint on my brush, sort of a little bit more paint. That was like none. Blending that out a bit. But like barely. Yeah. Then if I mess up, I can just go back in, whatever grey I need. A little bit more of this here. And then I might come in with the final highlight on the chain later because I have an idea for that could be kind of fun. Instead of using like white, I've got a different idea. So I'm going to come back to that. So it's going to have even more dimension, but that's like a good place to start. Now I'm just going to go along and continue painting in the chain like that until I get sick of it and want to paint another area. So I thought I'd experiment with this kind of video where I paint in real time and talk about my process and then swap over to a voiceover and a time lapse while I finish the piece. I can imagine these videos being nice to have on in the background while you're going about whatever you're doing, since there's a lot of chatting and it's nice and long, so you don't have to worry about picking a new video for a while. Also, it's just kind of nice to have a relaxing chat with you about all sorts of creative stuff. In this video, I really want to talk to you about something that's just really exciting me at the moment. And that's putting art on stuff and making cool products from our art. I think there's something so magical about original art. It's pretty unmatched, really. Having an original painting from an artist that you love on your wall, being able to look up close at all the delicious details and textures, and to feel the energy that they put into the piece radiating into your home. Having a piece of the artist's heart and soul in your space, something tangibly created by their hands, is pretty much beyond putting into words. But you know what's also cool? Having your everyday items, stuff that could otherwise be boring or utilitarian, turned into items of beauty that bring you joy. The little things you use every day, your coffee mug, your light art and candle, the rug at your front door, your phone case, your wallet, your makeup bag. Imagine the joy that you'd find in your daily routine if all the items you owned were special, unique little things of beauty. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a dream to me. Taking our art beyond prints and stickers and making a whole world of special goods that bring our artistic vision into daily life. So that's what I'm working towards for myself. One of my biggest goals this year is to make products from my art that I would cherish. I'm really passionate about it, and I have just a million ideas on what I want to make. It's actually a little overwhelming, but I'm sort of putting these ideas into two categories right now. One category is things I can make right now, and the second is longer term dream projects. The things I can make now and that I'm currently designing are mostly stationery items and like little accessories. Things like notebooks, bookmarks, washi tapes, phone charms. These are pretty easy and relatively like low cost to manufacture. And the design process is pretty good for someone like me who's definitely just a little baby beginner starting out and getting things manufactured. My longer term dream products are things like gym sets, because hey, one of my passions is working out, and honestly I think gym clothes could be so much more fun and so much cuter. Like, I don't know, I would love to have my art on gym gear, mainly because I wear it every day. So I'm like, if I use it every day, I want to make my gym stuff cute. So why not make what I want to see in the world? And other things like tarot cards, obviously, hardcover foil journals. And I also really want to make like a specific tarot journal, maybe a daily tarot journal, like a yearly journal that is tarot focused. I'm not sure yet, but the ideas are percolating. Floor rugs and blankets, caps and socks, handbags, and not like tote bags either, but leather handbags or pleather, fake leather, I don't know yet, in beautiful designs, like beautifully made with my art on them, and like charms of my art and metal details and buckles that I've designed, and just I have 1,000 ideas. Like nail stickers with my art on them would be cool, and just so many things. And even though these are longer term dreams, I'm still working on them right now. Do I have the money to manufacture them? Hell no. But that's insignificant. I believe I just need to put in the work and it's going to happen. The money thing will sort itself out. So I'm not letting that put me off starting the design, research, ideation process of all of these ideas. One of the reasons I thought I'd chat about this is that the painting I'm working on in this video is actually sort of a part of all of this. So I love swords and medieval weapons. I love the vibes. And I wanted to do some pieces with them for a while. So when this idea of combining maces with fruit came to me, I just knew it would be so perfect as a design for products. I might use this painting, but it might also just be a step in the creative ideation process of fleshing this idea out into a collection. I can see this fruit mace idea being really fun on a gym set. It's cute and whimsical, but also kind of tough and badass. Two vibes which I personally want to bring into the gym. I think it'd be so fun to create gym wear with kind of an alternative spin for the girls that like to be a little bit edgy, but still cute, and who feel like they can't find gym stuff that matches that vibe. Gym wear for elven princess warriors who have both death metal and Kero Kero Bonito on their gym playlist. That's the dream. So I really want to encourage you, if you haven't yet, to consider putting your art on stuff too. Make stuff that you would love to use every day. Even if you only manufacture in low quantities and you're the only one who uses what you make, or you give stuff to your family and friends as gifts, you're gonna feel so proud of yourself. And you're also gonna open up a whole new avenue of creative expression and possibilities. Looking at your art in terms of products really gives you a new lens to see things through. You might have a piece in your sketchbook that you could rework digitally. You could add text or a frame or design a border, and bam, you've turned something that would have stayed hidden in a book into a notebook cover or a pouch or a tapestry or any number of things. That way, you don't have to make a bunch of new art necessarily. You can reuse stuff you've already made. Or you can look at a painting you love and wonder how you can make that into a collection of goods. You can make it a print, then take elements from that to make it into a bookmark. Use the same colors and elements from the painting to create a mug design, etc., etc. So instead of just slapping a picture of your art on a mug, you're creating a whole new design that fits the shape of that product. Instead of just cropping your painting into a bookmark, you're editing elements of your painting to fit that longer rectangular shape. So each thing is really specially curated and designed, but it all fits in to the same collection. The possibilities are really endless. And if someone loves that artwork that you've made, they now have multiple different opportunities to fill their homes and their lives with it, to surround themselves in your beautiful creations. And not just on their walls as a print, but in so many different facets of their lives, bringing art and colour and joy into their day. How fun is that? So I don't know if anyone will want the things I'm making, but truly, I don't care. I want them. I'll be so proud of them and of myself for backing myself and my art business and making this dream of a beautifully stocked online store a reality. So while I keep painting, I thought we could have a little catch up, you know? Let me know what's going on with you. What creative projects are you working on? Or, I don't know, just anything that's got you like excited in your life right now. I would love to hear it. My days at the moment are obviously very like YouTube filming heavy. That's like the main thing I'm doing with my days, because editing, filming, planning videos, all of that, like it takes way longer than you could even imagine. But also in saying that, like you probably would have seen if you watched my last video, I've been feeling a little bit lower in energy. And I was last week because of like hormonal stuff, lady problems, you know. I don't know. I actually don't know what words and stuff you can use on YouTube. Like, I don't know if you get in trouble for talking about certain things, which is crazy considering they're like universal human bodily functions. But anyway, I'm still kind of feeling that lower energy, I guess. So I'm just being kind to myself, but also doing as much as I can. And working on my millions of ideas and projects that I've got in my brain. One of them being this, this artwork that I'm working on, and starting the process, I guess, of like apparel, gym wear, design, manufacture. I don't know, that whole thing, delving into that, which is quite fun. And I'm researching it and drawing up ideas, and it's a whole thing. But apart from like art, YouTube, and that stuff, I have pretty much been going to the beach most days. Not every day. I was kind of going every day for a while, but the past week or so I've gone every few days when the weather's nice. At the end of the day, after I train, I will go down to the beach and have a swim, and just, you have no idea. I should start filming it, I guess, or taking photos, but I kind of like going without my phone most of the time and just, being in the moment. But it's just so beautiful. It's just having that little ritual to end my day, like after I work out and I'm all sweaty and gross and tired, and I'll make like a smoothie or something, and I'll walk down. It takes me 3 minutes to be on the sand, to walk down there. Like, it's crazy how close I am to the beach now. And it's just so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And there's these like fields. Oh, there's a couple of fields of big like open spaces of grass that you can walk through to get to the beach. You can sort of go a few ways. And walking through these like fields, it's just the most pristine green grass you'll ever see. And then it's not really like built up that much around there. Like, there's no high rises. There's not even really apartment buildings. It's all kind of houses. So just like 2-story houses. It's very, like, I don't know, it's very nice. They're keeping this space green, or they can't build on it for some reason because it's not suitable for building. But they're also like the houses and stuff in that area, it's not too built up. So it literally feels like you're walking through, like, the Windows 95 screensaver. All you can see is just above you, filling the whole horizon, is like sky, blue sky. And then you've got like trees and some houses, and you can see the beach. And you just feel so open. Like, you just feel like you have so much space. And it's invigorating. It's the best. I love it so much. So I go down to like the pool. I sometimes swim at the actual beach, but usually I swim in like the pool because it's like a bit later and there's no flags up at the beach. If you're not from Australia, I'm not sure if you guys, I don't know where else has flags. So when you go to the beach in Australia, you usually want to swim in the area where there'll be 2 flags set up, and you want to swim in between those, because that's where like the lifeguards will be set up, and that's where they'll be like watching. So that's where you can swim and it's safe. If you don't, you can swim anywhere you want, obviously. But when there's rips and when there's like changes in tide or like scary stuff in the ocean, it's the ocean. If you're not a strong swimmer or you don't know how to like notice those things, you probably don't want to swim in those areas. So because the beaches I live near are kind of like, they can be quite like rough. They're really good like surf beaches. There's a lot of surfers at the beaches that I live near. So I prefer to swim between the flags because it can get quite like intense. Even though I'm a really good swimmer, I've swum since I was a little kid, and I'd say I'm a strong swimmer, but I just don't want to put myself in any situation that might lead to me freaking out. Because, like, literally you can get caught in a rip and you can just get swept out to sea and, like, people die. So, yeah. Usually I swim in the pool and I literally just get in. I'll, like, jump in and I just float. And the time of day I go is good. And the day, like, going on a weekday is good because it can get really busy on the weekends. Going on a weekday at, like, dusk, there's not that many people, and I literally can just float like an amoeba, and it's pretty much just like meditation. Or I'll, like, swim around a little bit, but after a workout, it's really good, I've realized, because I get, like, joint pain and joint pain a lot in my hips, but just, like, joint and even muscle pain, I guess. But I get joint pain because I'm pretty sure it's a combination between an accident I had when I was younger, and also lifting too heavy, like doing the squats too heavy over the past few years and not taking care of my joints properly. So now swimming, like, I can feel it as even if I'm just sort of paddling in the water and I'm treading water, the way I'm, like, moving my legs, you've got resistance and you can do, like, a wider range of motion than you can do on land. Does that make sense? It probably looks really weird if someone was looking at me underwater because, like, I'm moving my limbs in, like, I'm just, like, being a human octopus. But I think it's really good for my body. It's a really good cool down and a really good, like, it's a good way to move your body in all ways that you possibly can. But I also really want to buy some goggles and, like, a proper lap swimming swimsuit because I only really have bikinis, and I want to start doing laps because that's also really good. Obviously, swimming is really good for you. And I think even as it gets into colder weather, just having that, like, refreshing, especially in the morning, maybe going down for, like, a morning swim, jumping in, doing 20 laps and getting some really good cardio, and also getting, like, that refreshing, like, I don't think you can really beat jumping into cold water in the morning to just, like, get you up, get you ready for the day. So I'd like to do that. We'll see how that goes. I'd like to incorporate that as a habit. But we'll see. I need to get goggles and a swimsuit and actually a swimming cap too, because I've dyed my hair red and it's faded so much. Like, you can probably see in this video when I'm talking to the camera. If I do, I think I'll be filming an intro because I'm recording this before I film the intro. Anyway, my hair's faded so much because I swim in the ocean every day. So, of course it's going to fade. Why did I choose red, knowing this? I don't know. But if I'm going to actually keep swimming every day and want to keep my hair nice when I dye it, a swimming cap is probably the way to go. So I need to get one of those. And I'm just going to look like an egg and have the best time ever. And speaking of, like, training, so yeah, I've gotten back into weightlifting, which over the last few years, sort of since the end of 2020, I really started getting into it. And over those few years till now, I got really, like, it was just part of my daily life. Like, I'd go to the gym sometimes for 2 hours a day, which is, it's a bit much. 2.5 hours, like, that's a bit much. But it helped me through some tough times. I was probably quite unhealthy with it at times, you know, getting quite overtraining, I suppose, but it was giving me something mentally that I needed. But I've had a bit of a break, and I've been beating myself up about it because, you lose a bit of strength and blah, 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 blah. Even though I don't think I've lost as much as I would have thought, because I haven't been, for at least 6 months, I've been very sporadically training. And before that, I was going to the gym like every day, consistently, for like years. But I guess that builds up. Like that builds up to a certain level, I suppose, and you'll always have that sort of baseline. I don't know. But I haven't lost that much strength. I can still do pull-ups, which is awesome. They're like my favorite thing in the world. And weighted push-ups, and I can still do a lot of things. But I think the break was quite good because I'm looking at where my negative patterns were with training, and where, I had some, and I still do, I guess, have some a bit unhealthy approaches and mindsets when it comes to fitness. And it's interesting because fitness and health, those two things go hand in hand. But sometimes you can be quite fit and you can be quite unhealthy at the same time. It's quite interesting. And I think it's weird. I'm quite a competitive person, but not competitive with others. I've always done, like when I was a kid, if I did sports, I never really did team sports. I wasn't really interested. I did things like figure skating, and which is competitive against other people. But anyway, I did horse riding. I did, gymnastics. Like I did things that were a bit more solitary. And I feel like I was always competing against myself. Like I'd get really obsessed with a certain thing and love it, and I just want to do more and more of it and get really good at it. And I think I've always been like that, competitive with myself. So yeah, I've had a big break off training consistently, and I've missed it a lot. I miss the mental side of it as well, which is the challenge. It's mind over matter. You can really do a lot more than you think you can do, and your mind tells you no, but you realize you can actually be in control of your mind. You can do a lot more than you think. You can get a lot more reps out than you think. You can lift a lot heavier than you think. And I think I've always been quite good with this, I suppose. I really think that, like, I've never really trained to look a certain way. Like, yeah, I have. I want to look muscular and fit, but I've never really, like, I don't know, I've always found it fun. Fun was the main reason why I did certain lifts, why I went to the gym in the first place. Is like that mental push, that challenge, that just pushing your body. I found that rewarding. But it's really hard with social media because, like, I feel like all the fitness content I see, or a lot of it, is really like, it's good, it's inspirational and everything, but also you kind of feel bad because, like, I don't know, everyone's got butts, man. My family, we don't really have butts. We're very, like, kind of straight up and down, quite athletic. Like, my mum's very slim. She's got good muscle tone. She's in her mid-60s, she's athletic. But, like, in our family, we don't carry weight. We're kind of slender people, I suppose. Do you know what I mean? Even when we put on weight, it's kind of evenly distributed. And we don't really get butts. And, like, butts are, like, the thing, Like, all gym content is, like, you see these girls with these amazing big legs and butts. And I'm like, no matter how much I've lifted, I've never got that before. It's just not like naturally in my genes. But also, in saying that, I've never really focused on diet and specifically focused on growing my glutes. And, I've never actually targeted that to see what I can achieve. I've just been like, you know what, I'm just going to lift for fun because I enjoy it. And another reason why I was like that is because I've had issues with eating. I've had issues with being, that's a whole other thing I could go into, but I know that if I could get way too obsessed about it, I could get way too obsessed about not feeling good enough. This is a part of my body I want to grow. It's not good enough. I need to eat this. I can't eat that. This is my strict plan. And beat myself up and feel like garbage and get really, really obsessed. So I guess I've tried to avoid that for my own sake. And I'm quite proud of myself for doing that, But I feel like I'm in a good place mentally where I'm like, you know what? I'd like to try to do this for fun. I'm doing more glute and leg workouts now, and I've changed things up. I'm lifting more reps for lighter weights, which should help grow them more. I used to just like to lift as heavy as possible, and I do less reps. And that's one thing that it means you're not necessarily going to grow your glutes doing that. But I just thought it was fun, so I liked doing that. And yeah, I guess the reason why I'm talking about all this fitness stuff is because I'm thinking about designing really cool gym wear. And I'm thinking about who I want to design that for and what kind of feeling I want people to have when I do design this stuff and when people do wear it. And I want it to be I want women to feel literally like a warrior, elf, princess. I want women to feel really excited about being strong. But I don't want it to be I don't want anyone to feel not good enough or it's a vanity thing. You have to look a certain way to be strong. You have to have a certain body type to be, that gym girl. Because I really don't believe that. Bro, I've got a back, I've got shoulders. I've got a broad upper body. I want to celebrate that. Do I want to grow my glutes and stuff too? Yeah, fun, cool. I'd love to. But I want all women to feel like their body type is hot and special and strong, and that they feel really confident and they're wearing a really cool badass outfit when they work out or go to the gym. Not something boring or generic, there's cute leggings and crop tops and stuff like that. The stuff that I wear is cute, but it doesn't really have my personality, and it doesn't embody that character, that badass warrior elf princess that I want to be in the gym, And I think bringing that femininity and that fun and just bring art into the gym is cool. And yeah, it's just got me really excited because I'm I can't wait to see maybe people who wouldn't necessarily train or have never done it before or have been intimidated by it or don't see themselves as exercising people or fit people or anything like that. Maybe give it a chance and see it as this really fun, rewarding challenge against themselves, not against anyone else, but a challenge that they can bring themselves to. And that there's other people like them. There's other kind of just weird, wonderful people who love fitness, and you don't have to be a certain type of person to be a gym girl, you can be yourself. And yeah, I don't know, just excites me, it just excites me. It's a project, an idea that I love, and I just really like to encourage people to get into fitness in any way that they can or they want to, because it is such a blessing to be able to have a body that you can move in and that you can stay healthy in for as long as possible. Like, it is a blessing. And I think, you know, while we've got it, we need to keep it and we need to use it to the best of our ability and be so grateful for it and just have fun in it, you know? So that's my days. I do art, I train, I go to the beach. I've also been, I've started to learn Russian on Duolingo, which is kind of funny because my heritage is not Russian at all. I'm like Dutch, Scottish, English, pretty much. But I was like, I don't know, I've just always felt like Russian is cool. I like that their alphabet is different to ours. So that's an added challenge, because why make things easy on myself, you know? And like, honestly, why do I need to learn a language that I have some tie to? Might not even ever go to Russia. But does it matter? No. Am I doing this for fun? Yeah. So who cares? I felt like I wanted to do Russian, and I felt like I wanted to like learn Russian for a little bit. So why not? Why not? So I've been doing that every night, and it's really fun. Like, Duolingo, the app is really fun. They make it like easy, and it's like a little game. So I've been doing that. I've been reading. I want to read 15 books this year. So far, I've like got 3/4 of the way through a couple self-help books, and I'm just finishing my first fiction book. So I haven't even fully read one yet. So I'm behind. But I've nearly finished. I've got like 40 more pages of The Tommyknockers by Stephen King. And it's weird. I didn't look up proper reviews because I don't want spoilers, but I'm really interested. I can't wait until I can start reading about it. Is anyone else like that? Like, you finish a book and you just want to read what other people have to say, and, you know, I guess people are like that. It's like a little, you know, you want to go to the online book club and see what everyone else thought. But I think the general consensus of this book is that people don't really like it, but I've really enjoyed it. Like, it's kept me interested and gripped to the story from the start. So I'm pretty happy with it. I thought it was really entertaining, but people sort of think it's one of Stephen King's least good books. And I haven't really read much of him. Like, I've read The Shining, and is that it? Maybe that's it. I don't think I've even read it. I think I started to read it, but I gave up when I was a lot younger. I don't know. It's weird. I'm like, I love horror. I've always loved horror, but I've never really read much Stephen King. Maybe I'll change that this year. But I've liked it. It's cool. It's an alien story, you know. It's interesting. I quite like it. But after this, because I get most of my books from like the op shop, so I just kind of see what's interesting there and buy it. I don't buy much new because it's really expensive. So I found a book called Magician by Raymond E. Feist. Is that his name? I think so. But it's like a really well-known fantasy. But it's really, really thick. It's really thick, so it's going to take me ages. So my 15 books this year, The Tommyknockers has been quite long too. So I think I need to chuck in a few shorter books if I want to reach this quota of 15 books. But I think I'm going to start reading that, The Magician. I quite like fantasy and I like horror. I'm not really into this new romance fantasy thing that seems to have like overtaken the world. I'm not really a big I don't really want romance in my books. Like, it can be sort of like a side plot, I guess, like a little part. I just don't want it. It's not interesting to me in a book, or maybe I haven't read it how I would like it. Maybe, you know, there's probably romance books out there that would interest me, but it just like, I would rather read something else, you know? This painting has taken me so long for how small it is. I think because I haven't done any really small, detailed kind of illustration paintings in a while. I forgot how long they take. I feel like sometimes they take longer than bigger paintings because you're putting like, I don't know, you're kind of putting the same amount of detail in them, but you're using the world's tiniest brush. So it takes forever. Do you want to go out, bud? You okay? You want to go out? You stay here with me? Stay trapped? Okay, stay trapped. Good dog. You're propped very precariously on my water jar right now. So I think for the last details, I'm going to use my gouache because I can't be bothered to squeeze out more paint. The stuff from yesterday's obviously all dried up because it's acrylic paint. So because this is the final layer, gouache will be fine. I didn't want to do the whole thing in gouache because I wanted to have it, because I wanted it to be, because I wanted to be able to layer the paint and not have that mess up the layers underneath. So this has been a long video. Personally, I quite like long videos to put on in the background. Like, you want to go outside? You want to go out there? Okay, bud. Bye. See you later. He'll come crawling back. He always comes crawling back. I need a desk that's like 2 times bigger than this. You'd think it'd be big enough, but it's not. Not for me and my mess. Right. That is gonna do. It's probably even better. What was I saying? Yeah, so this is going to be a long video, but I like them because I put them on the background when I paint, and it means I don't have to worry about like finding a new video to watch all the time, or something coming on autoplay that I don't like and having to figure it out, because I have YouTube on a fair bit when I paint. Either that or silence. I've become one of those weird people who can just sit in silence. So I know I need to do some little touch-ups, and I also am thinking I want to add maybe some like lace gloves on the hands, because I saw some on Pinterest and they looked really cute, and I thought that would be like a fun touch. But first I guess I'm gonna just do like the touch-ups that I need to do and make everything look a little bit brighter than it does where I need to, because I feel like the tomatoes, I feel like the strawberries could be more vibrant, even though I am going to take it into, like I'm going to work the piece digitally a bit, but I wanted that to basically just be like an editing stage. I wanted to do the painting traditionally and then tweak it digitally. Whereas I know I could have, especially with like the glow effect that I've sort of done, I could have done that probably better digitally, definitely better. But I wanted to do it traditionally, and I will go in and then like edit it to neaten it up digitally, because I want to use this design on like apparel potentially, which is kind of exciting. I really want to continue this series of like medieval weaponry that like crossovers with other stuff. So like fruit mace, that's fun. But even just like painting straight up like swords and just painting weaponry, I just think it's the coolest. Like I love the vibes. And my dream for making like really cute gym wear, like I think these kind of designs would work really well because, I don't know, when I'm in the gym, in my mind, I'm a warrior elf princess. So why not make clothes? I'm a little bit annoyed at myself because I can tell that I want to rush through and kind of finish this painting. Like I just want it to be finished so I can get this video out for one, and so I can move on to something new. But I also know I'm not going to be happy with it unless I actually properly give it the attention that it fully needs. So, what's the time? Okay, the time right now is 10:40. I'm going to give myself till 12. Till 12, and then I'm going to call it done because I think I also just need to like hurry up, get a hustle on, and give myself a time limit. And whatever I'm not totally happy with, I will go in and fix or add or tweak in Procreate, which kind of feels like cheating, but like how is that actually cheating? I don't know why it's still me doing it. I'm not cheating, it's still art, it's just, yeah. So, I'm gonna speed on through till 12 and we'll see how much I get done. I'll show you what it looks like now. It's probably not gonna actually look that much different. It's just little things I have to do. It's not really that exciting. So this is what it looks like now. Man, that glowing effect looks kind of cool on camera. I'm quite happy with that. But I don't know if I should add it in the middle of the chains. Like I feel like I need to because it makes sense. But I also feel like it doesn't need to make sense. This is a thing that doesn't exist in the world, so it doesn't necessarily need to make sense. But I think, because I did it down here a little bit, accidentally actually, the white on the inside, and I think it starts to look too busy. I don't know. Like I think it reads better without it, but maybe I could add that in digitally and experiment with that. But this is now 10:40 a.m. Got some little things to do, like I've got to add details to these little strawberries. I want to just make these more colourful and vibrant. Maybe add those gloves. I'll just, yeah, tweak some things. editing at 12, like I said I was going to, but I've been editing this video and doing like the last voiceover and stuff. Sorry about the terrible lighting right now, but I have to have my camera plugged in to charge the battery. So you're back on top of my water jar. It's the only place you could be right now. But I don't know if you can hear that. You probably can't. But it's the faint sizzle of bacon on the stove. So I have to go because I'm starving. But finished. And I love how it's come out. I'm going to photograph it now and take it into Procreate tonight. Because if I don't work on it tonight, I might put it off and it will just end up being another artwork that's like 98% finished and it just never quite gets there. So I'm going to take a photo of that after I eat my bacon and eggs. But thank you so much for joining me on this really long video. I hope it kept you company while you were doing whatever you were doing. And next week's video is going to be different. I've got a really exciting idea for it. It's going to be totally different than this, but I'm having a lot of fun like just trying out lots of different kinds of videos. So I guess expect the unexpected from me. But it's always going to be arty and hopefully a little bit cozy and chill. And yeah, I better go because my kitchen may burn down. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Oh, and like 900 subscribers, pretty much. I've got like 898 right now. That's insane. Thank you. I love you. I'll save some bacon for you, so hurry up and get here. Okay, bye.